My name's Chris. I live here in Phoenix, Arizona, and I've had several years of ministry experience where that was my job. That's what I did. I want to be a generous person. I've never had a job where I made a lot of money, so I've always felt like my efforts to do that have been restricted. I wasn't even sure exactly what I was agreeing to or getting myself into, but I guess I trusted you enough that if I didn't like it along the way, I'd just say forget it at some point. But I was glad I never said forget it. It was sometimes a little bit annoying. I got to do this thing for Charlton. It was fun. It was a very healthy reminder for me of the power of giving and how giving motivates other people to give, and it builds on itself.
So tell me about the first phase of the project.
The $2 project?
Yeah.
Full disclosure, I don't think I ever cashed the check. But I knew that I had this responsibility to give big with $2, which I thought was pretty silly because $2 is pretty small. Like, what can you buy for $2? But this project was not like the overarching part of my life. Like, other things were happening, my kids were doing things. During that time, one of my coworkers went through a very tragic experience. Her daughter, who was 22 years old at the time, had gone into a diabetic coma. She was living on her own with roommates, and roommates just thought she was resting, and there was a lot of uncertainty in their family as far as if she was going to come back, what it would look like when she came back. She was out of work for several weeks, and our team that I work with, we had done a lot to try to help her. We had done meals for their family and tried to help in any way we could, rides, utilities. I had the privilege of going and being in the hospital with her the day she opened her eyes, and we prayed, and that was cool because it kind of renewed her faith in God, and so we had that kind of relationship more than just coworkers. And some folks were in the break room at lunchtime, and people were buying soda machines, and there was something wrong with the machine that day that drew my attention to the machine. And my coworker, her name's Christy, she likes Coca-Cola. And I thought, that's how I could give big for $2. Soda's $1.65 out of the machine. So I paid $2, and I bought just, a 20-ounce plastic bottle, classic Coca-Cola, and went to take it to her, and she wasn't at her desk. So I was like, here I am trying to give, and she's not even here to receive the gift. So I left it there. We had sat kind of kitty corner across a hallway in a cubicle type setting. And so when she returned from lunch, like, she saw the Coke and she was like moved, like tears welling up. Did you do this? Are you responsible for this? And I was a little bit taken back. It's a Coke. Like, I would buy any of my friends a Coke. Like, this didn't seem appropriate for such an emotional response. I said, yes. She goes, why did you do that? And I didn't explain the project. I just said, well, I wanted to get you a Coke. Do you want a Coke? Well, I do. And so then she starts to tell me the story, everything she had been through with her daughter and everything else. She was just back to work. Her and one of my other coworkers had gone to lunch. They had ran into someone who was homeless, less fortunate, that was asking for help. She had given all of the money that she had on her to that individual that was asking for help, had gotten in the car to come back to work with her coworker, and was like, shoot, I gave all my money to the homeless guy, and now I don't have money to buy a Coke. I could really use a Coke to get through the day. And so sure enough, when she came back to her desk, there was a Coca-Cola waiting that I had just, hey, I think she would enjoy this. And it was a good reminder, we never know what little things we do can make a big difference, and how if we are just observant and maybe sensitive to what God's directing, we can be a part of Him doing really cool things. I don't know. Some people would just say that's all coincidence and, it's a neat story. But I tend to think that, it was divine. Christy was at a point when her faith was growing. She was really looking at things. And I don't know what other people would think, but for her, like, that was God providing for not just her needs, but also her wants. She had practiced generosity, and I had somehow repaid her generosity through someone else encouraging me to be generous. And we never know how all these stories connect, so it was pretty cool that way. Now, there was 35 cents left from this arrangement. That has a much less interesting story. Someone else had come and said, hey, does anybody have change to borrow? And I just, no, you can't borrow it. Please take this 35 cents. And
So then later on, you got the next phase of the project, which was a gift card. I gave you what? Jamba Juice gift card?
Jamba Juice, they were branded by the Twilight series. So I was very confused when they arrived. I wasn't sure what to do with them. Well, there was 5 cards, I think with $5 each. So I had thought about like maybe taking different people in my life to share Jamba Juice. I'm not a big Jamba Juice guy. I've been trying to cut down sugar. I wasn't sure what to do with the Jamba Juice, and so I put them in my car, hoping that there'd be opportunity. And time went on, and nothing had happened. But what I did do with the project, we live very close to Phoenix International Raceway. On race day, you can hear the cars going from our house. So a friend of mine, he's the theater director at Peoria High School. The biggest fundraiser they do every year is to run one of the concession stands at the race. This is one of 2 big NASCAR events that happen every year. So my friend Warner had asked me if I would be a part of donating one day to go help them succeed with this project. So that day I actually ended up going Saturday, and then Sunday I was there from early in the morning till late in the evening. And I remember thinking, like, this is how to give big with my time. This was valuable use of my time. This made a difference for the high school, for each of these students I met and invested time in and hung out with. But I had not used the Twilight gift cards. I talked to his wife, who was the one who had really coordinated all of this. And because there were several other adults besides myself that had helped coordinate this fundraiser, I gave the gift cards to her and I said, hey, would you mind giving these as a thank you to the other adults who took their time out to invest in high school students? So while I had given my day, the gift card portion of the project went to reward other adults who had already given time that day also.
So then after that came the third phase. But it was given with an interesting caveat. Give big and have fun.
Well, it's honestly, I get that. Sometimes it feels like a burden, like, oh, I have to do this, and how am I going to have fun with only $100? And yet, I had seen that $2 could be very meaningful, so I was sure $100 could be meaningful. But I wasn't sure how I would have fun with it in a way that was generous or helpful to others. People have fun spending money, but sometimes giving it away can be difficult. And honestly, when you go to give gifts to people, sometimes it's awkward too. Like, why are you doing this? Or they feel the need to reciprocate the gift, and then it becomes not a gift at all. And where I work, they were doing a huge fundraiser for the March of Dimes. March of Dimes does a lot to help babies. I've always had kind of mixed feelings about the charity, March of Dimes, but one of my coworkers that was my manager previously, March of Dimes was very meaningful and significant in his life. So this charity was very important to him. And because of his personal interest in it, I really wanted to do something to be a part of it. And at the end of the month, they were doing a raffle where people could buy tickets for $5 a piece and have access to win things like jerseys or Suns tickets, autographed pictures, photo shoots, spa days. But everybody was kind of like worn out from a month-long fundraising campaign. And my friend Ty, the one that had this personal interest, he had kind of made like, hey, would somebody please buy a ticket? You have a very good chance of winning. So not many people were buying tickets. He was kind of trying to encourage people to do so. And so I had decided that this is what I would do with the last phase of the project, that I would buy tickets towards the March of Dimes raffle. And then I thought, there's a pretty good chance I'll win. So not only could I have fun helping March of Dimes, but I could win one of these great prizes for my family. And so that was kind of my plan, but I got to work, and Christy, who I talked about in the first project, it was her last day with us. So I thought maybe I could somehow honor Christy through this and help the babies and fulfill the Give Big project. So I thought we should celebrate. We should celebrate as a team this day. So it was great fun. What ended up happening was Ty came around kind of sad, like, no one's gonna do this. We should have stopped this early. And he has like the roll of tickets in his hand. Does anyone want to buy raffle tickets? Do you know about the raffle? And I mean, he's getting denied and denied as he goes to each cubicle, and he comes to my spot. Do you know about the raffle? Yes. Would you like to buy any of the raffle tickets? Yes. Okay, which one do you want? And I said, well, I'm confused. Like, if I spend $20, I get 4 or 5. No, if you spend $20, you get 5 tickets, not just 4 tickets. So I said, okay, well, I would like to get $100 worth of tickets. And he was very surprised by this. What? Yeah, so I would like $100 worth of tickets. For which one? Well, which one has the least? Like, he was very overwhelmed by this generous gesture. And of course, other people noticed also. Like, this made other people want to give because, well, Chris is doing it. Chris is doing $100. I could do $5. What was I thinking? And so there's this ticket buying frenzy. Oh no, Chris is getting 100 tickets. So it wasn't 125 or whatever it worked out to be. So they're counting out these tickets, and so then I took the tickets and we split them up between the different prizes that were available. And then I took the little rip-off tickets with the numbers. I took my tickets and then shook them up in a giant bowl. And I went to my whole team, all these people who thought I was for sure like buying the prize, and then I passed out these tickets to all of my coworkers. So all of a sudden, everybody is now part of this project because they have a chance to win. People who didn't care, now they cared because they had a chance. It made the day a lot of fun. If anybody asked why, I said, well, we're celebrating so-and-so. It's their last day. We're celebrating Christy's last day. And so then it wasn't about me at all. I kind of diverted that attention, and we were celebrating someone. When it came time to do the drawing, everyone was very excited. Where do we go? I have my ticket. Do we have to be present? And there was some confusion there. I was actually not present when they did the drawing. But like as I'm walking back into the building, everybody's like, hey Chris, you're a big winner, you won 3 times. Hey, congratulations. So I got to my desk and retrieved the tickets and found out 3 other people who I had gifted tickets to won prizes that day. Very significant prizes like NFL jerseys or autographed Suns players' pictures. And some of these people went on to give those gifts as prizes to their kids, or it's sparked generosity for them to give something else to other people. And it was a lot of fun for me to be a part of that, the level of helping March of Dimes, the level of kind of encouraging, celebrating my coworkers' achievements, and then having people win. Like, that's fun to help other people win, and then to see them pass that on and help other people and be givers, to be generous. It was cool to see that part of the project. I took the resources that you had asked me to steward, so my investment was very small. The gift that went to March of Dimes was part of a larger collaboration in which $10,000 was donated to help babies that I may never meet, but people may have life that may not have had it otherwise. I gave 3 gifts to my coworkers, all of them valued at $100 or more, and I had the opportunity to celebrate my coworkers' last day in a very meaningful and memorable way.
So with your $100, you gave in a way that inspired other people to give. You gave more away from that as well. So you gave to March of Dimes and you gave gifts away, and you honored a person who was there, part of your team, as they left. Okay, well, thank you, Chris, for doing this project, and I'd like to give you a moment to share with the future givers what they should know.
Well, thank you, Charlton, for thinking of me. I was very happy to be a part of the project. And I just want everybody to be reminded, like I was reminded, that every one of us can live a life that's generous. Sometimes we think that, well, when I have more time or when I have more money, then I'll use it in a way that makes a difference for other people. The fact of the matter is if you're not doing it now, you probably won't do it then. But we can change that. We can start practicing being generous and giving with what we have. It just takes an adjustment in the way that we think. I was able to invest in things that meant a lot to me, into young people, into children, into the area that I live, to my friends. And for me, I felt like I was able to be Jesus to people. And all it took was a little bit of intentionality. And I would encourage everyone out there, wherever spot you're at and in life, that you can be generous and you can be a giver. Thanks again, Charlie.